people that approached me were a group of people that I have a real deep respect for. They're active in our community, they're business people, they're people that served on various capacities that were concerned about the direction that the community was taking. I was approached individually by a number of them and resisted their requests. And at a certain point in mid-August, I asked them a group of them, to put together a strong rationale collectively for why I should take on what I consider to be a pretty thankless job. They did that. They provided a number of reasons. Part of it was financial. Part of it is a lack of what I call business sense in this current administration. And part of it was just they provided me with a rationale that related to the longer-term future of the community and just the lack of direction, which was very difficult to argue against. They provided me with a list of what they saw as the characteristics and the personality that I would bring to the job and the role as mayor. And it was difficult to argue with their concerns, but also their observation of me as a leader within the community and some of the principles that I bring to the role as mayor, and also the history and the knowledge and the experience that I've had in all of the different facets of the operations of the district. You know, I think in terms of the issues, my process is a little different than perhaps some of the other candidates. I was much more concerned about hearing the concerns of the community than I am about addressing my own personal concerns or observations. The things that I've tried to focus on in this campaign were the things that I heard from the community in August when I was out knocking on doors and talking to people. So the concerns that I heard them raise were things about pedestrian safety, sidewalks specifically, but broader, pedestrian safety throughout the community. Concerns around customer service and just the experiences that people have when they go in and deal at the District of Lake Country in terms of walking in the door with questions or with applications. Issues around volunteers in the community and their perception of the lack of respect that volunteers get from staff at the district. And then obviously about the concerns about how do we afford more recreational amenities in the community. I mean, we live in a beautiful area. We have all of these things that are going on, everything from minor hockey to parks and trails and all kinds of things, and just how do we make it better and how do we afford that? And people that are out there building trails and out there coaching hockey and out there doing all these things, just the disconnect between the operations of the District of Lake Country and the volunteers that are actually delivering all these services. So those are the things that I heard from the community. Those are the things that I think are important to people that need to be addressed in the next few years. I think it's a fabulous thing that we have so many people that are interested in serving the community. I look at the cross-section of people's backgrounds and interests, and I think that it reflects a community with a broad interest. In terms of why people run today, I think there are many motivations. Some of it may be dissatisfaction with current administration. Some of it may just be a desire to serve the community. In terms of why there's more today than there was perhaps 3 years ago, I think that there is a sense in the community that there's a desire for change that maybe didn't exist or wasn't as strong 3 years ago as it is today. And I think that many of the candidates see an opportunity to bring their skills and their experience, their background, their opinions, to provide that change, to provide a different perspective than we've seen in the last 6 years of this current administration. And so change is a big proponent or a big component of why I think people are running now that wouldn't have run in the past, and their desire to see that change happen in the community. I think this group of council has really put a lot of energy and effort in terms of dealing with things in the best way that they can. I haven't always agreed with their decisions necessarily, but I think that they are well intended. They do try and connect to the community, and so I'd have to commend them for their intention, their positive intention. They truly believe they're doing what's in the best interest of the community, and I will never take that away from them. Again, in terms of some of the things they've done, I haven't agreed with their process, but certainly their intention has never been I can never be critical of their intention. I think that the changes that I would implement start with council meetings themselves. I bring a very strong process background and strong chairing background and experience that doesn't exist today. I'm a strong believer in the procedures bylaw of the district that encourages better decision making as a result of process. And it sounds boring and monotonous, but the process that's been established for boards and organizations for over many centuries is there for a reason, because it works. And this current council is not good at following that process or that procedure. So I think they make weaker decisions as a result of their lack of process in their meetings. Their debate is not strong, it is not structured, and that is a significant change that I will bring in terms of being a chair of our council. I think the first change in terms of the administrative side of the operation is to be looking to the administrator to provide stronger recommendations in terms of facilitating change within the organization. We've heard from the community, and we see it every day if you watch the news, about how our economy is faltering, and people are concerned about increasing costs, increasing levels of taxation, increasing inefficiencies in government. And so I think that it is our administrators' responsibility to bring strong recommendation that council takes seriously in terms of how to deal with restructuring their organization in a time of economic change, rather than being afraid to make those kind of very challenging, difficult decisions about eliminating positions within the operation, or reducing hours of work, or things like that. Those hard conversations need to take place now. They should have taken place 2 years ago. They didn't seem to. The organizations continue to grow in a declining economy, and that has to change. I think as well, trying to change some of our connections back to the community, in particular the business community and the investment community. They need to be respected in a way that recognizes that their concerns need to be heard as much as the broader community. We have to listen to the concerns of residents as it relates to applications for development, but we also need to take seriously the concerns, the issues that are raised by proponents for development as well, specifically around red tape and bureaucracy and some of the ridiculous requirements that exist for development to take place. And I'm not talking about large-scale development. I'm talking about somebody who wants to build a shed in their backyard that requires a geotechnical engineer's report to build a small backyard shed, and a development permit, and all of the other permits that are required. And as a result of the standards of regulation that have been created over the last 4 or 5 years, there are a lot of people that are doing development, small-scale development, without the required permits, because they're not going to go through the process that's required, that this council has put in place in terms of the regulatory requirements to do something like build a backyard garage. Council needs to take a really strong look at that and understand the issues that are related to those kind of developments, and that is a high priority to me to look at. And then in terms of the longer term, again, connecting back to our volunteers, the people that are doing the work in our community, connecting back to those people and encouraging them to continue their hard work. Those are my comments. Lake Country's greatest asset from a business perspective is Highway 97. 50,000 cars a day, and the consumer dollars that flow from that in terms of retail business. We have other small businesses that are located in the community, and so from a small business perspective, I think it's the lifestyle that is afforded by living in Lake Country and providing a pretty good place to live and do business. But in terms of the business environment in and of itself, having had operated, owned multiple businesses in Lake Country is a difficult place to do business. Our market just is not big enough to provide the number of people that are required to provide a market of any substantial size if you want to have a retail operation in Lake Country. So it's a challenge. Our taxes are not cheap in Lake Country, generally in terms of commercial or industrial land use, so we don't provide a competitive advantage in that regard. But we do provide fairly close proximity to a very substantial market in Kelowna and a fairly substantial market in Vernon. So Highway 97, the links that connect us to the broader region are really, that's really the business advantage that we bring relative to